Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another Rockies Daily. I'm your host, Scott Ayers, where we are talking all things Colorado Rockies. And, folks, we get to have a fun episode today because, look, the Rockies get their third walk-off win of the season, this time against the Boston Red Sox. And there are some exciting things we get to talk about. We get to talk about, obviously, the late-game heroics by Jake McCarthy, Ryan Feltner, obviously having a really solid outing. The bullpen looking great. Mickey Moniak has returned. We also have to talk about the bad, which was the complete choke job that we got in the 8th inning. But we can spin it to talk about maybe how this team showed some resiliency. But look, regardless, a really fun win for the Colorado Rockies. If you didn't watch, you didn't see the highlights. Look, the 9th inning was really exciting. One, because Victor Vodnik was able to keep a clean sheet, just a walk in that 9th inning. Red Sox end up having a guy on third with 2 outs, but no harm, no foul. You go to the bottom of the lineup where you've got the heart and soul of the lineup. And what happens? TJ Rumfield has a nice little slap of a single. Next thing you know, Hunter Goodman with his single. Then Cole Carrick comes up and has a prime-time bunt. But guess what? It's placed perfectly. It turns into a bunt single. And now the bases are loaded for Jake McCarthy. And what do you know? Jake McCarthy, game-winning triple. Where, Duran actually kind of gave him a bit of an assist in left field because it bounced off the left field wall. Duran was there and decided to play hot potato with it. And next thing you know, Cole Carrick is sliding into home plate, and the Rockies win the first of 3 games in this matchup between the worst teams in baseball. And I wasn't at the game. I had friends at the game. They were able to take this great photo of just a sad and miserable Red Sox fan. And I feel like that is what can give us joy, is to see some of that misery. Coors Field's kind of turned into a place where opposing fans, we talked about how it's, Wrigley West, and a ton of Red Sox fans were at this game as well. And guess what? They have to go home a little sad, a little devastated because of the heroics of Jake McCarthy, their third walk-off win of the year. And really impressive at-bats from all these guys in the 9th inning. Really in the late stages of the game, we'll talk about the 8th inning because the Rocks rattled off 7-8 hits in the last 2 innings of this game. They were absolutely nails. And they're able to pull one out, which was great to see. But more importantly, to see it come from someone that isn't Hunter Goodman or Mickey Moniak, to see it be Jake McCarthy, who gets his second walk-off win in his career. His first came against the Rockies in 2024. So it's just more positive vibes for a team that's obviously 17 games under 500. But they're just playing a lot better than what we saw last year. And it also goes to the pitching. It goes to Ryan Feltner putting together another solid start. And he goes 6 innings pitched, just gives up 2 runs. Another quality start for Feltner. 4 hits, 4 walks. 2 of those walks coming in the first, another coming in the 6th. And he unraveled a little bit in the 6th inning, right? He was super efficient up until that point. Had 17 pitches in the first, and then a lot of 10, 11, 10, right? He was pitching extremely well. Had about 34 pitches in the 6th inning, but he kept with it. He stayed with it. And ultimately, Schaefer stayed with Feltner and gave him an opportunity to close things out in the 6th, and that's what he did. Feltner does well enough to keep this game close, and ultimately, his solid pitching allowed the Rockies to not have to go deep into the bullpen. They saw Brennan Bernardino, they saw Victor Vodnik, and both of those guys had solid outings as well. So it makes, the third game in 4 tries in this homestand where the pitching's actually been pretty good. Now, we talked about it, that it's been shaky, right, where things get pretty dicey, but you can't deny that they're holding teams from scoring a bunch of runs, minus that third game against the Pirates. And, a lot of that was just Juan Mejia just getting shelled. But regardless, really solid stuff from Feltner. It's his fourth quality start in 6 tries. Really, it's just the Chicago Cubs that have his number currently. But look, you're going to take it. He's been really good, and that's exactly what you need when it comes to this development of finding pitchers that can pitch at Coors Field and that can be depth pieces for you moving forward, right? We know that Chase Dollander is going to be in the mix. But outside of that, who is going to be involved? Who's going to be a piece that can contribute? And it really, really looks like Ryan Feltner is another one of those pieces that the Rockies can hold on to for the future. Now, whether that's a number 2, a number 3, a number 4, who knows? But it is clear that he can pitch at Coors Field. It is clear he can pitch for the Colorado Rockies. And it is just a must that they hold on to him of these pitchers that they currently have. So I know his name was listed on like an ESPN trade deadline tracker, but I just don't think this is a name that you want to deal just because it's hard to get pitching at Coors Field. It's hard to find some proof of solid starting pitching. Ryan Feltner is a solid starting pitcher for the Colorado Rockies. And you just hope he can continue to have the command and control that he has shown really over these last 6 starts since he's come back from injury. So good stuff from him. Really good stuff from the bullpen. And the fact that they were still in this game and had only given up 2 runs going into the 8th and the 9th inning was massive. Victor Vodnik, you do have to just tip your cap to him because he had a really solid outing. Because when he comes into the game, I think a lot of us sigh and a lot of us like, gosh. But 30 pitches thrown, 20 strikes for Vodnik. For Bernardino, 18 pitches, 12 strikes. So more efficient when it comes to attacking the strike zone. Just 3 base runners in the 3 innings for the 2 pitchers combined. Just needed stuff from a bullpen that has felt very shaky. So good stuff from them overall. Good stuff from the Rocks. Let's talk about the one really glaring bad that I think, because I'm recording shortly after this game, that I really want to focus on. The 8th inning. Whoa, was that some all-time bad, no good duty base running from the Colorado Rockies, where they string together 4 singles and it results in 2 outs. One of which may be aggressive base running, sending Julian home. It was a really great throw at the plate, but out by a country mile. And then, of course, it is Willie Castro on a base hit, not running home. Mickey Moniak actually holds on third. Castro overplays it. Next thing you know, it turns into, you could call it a pickle, but really there was no chance of Willie Castro getting back to second. He's thrown out. And I think at that point, for many of us, it felt like that was really the only opportunity because Aroldis Chapman is coming in and we're down 2-0. But the Rockies stuck with it. Tough base running, but I don't hate being aggressive, but when it's a 2-run game and then you see a single in the next at bat from Freeman, like, dang, that's a bit of a bummer. But regardless, one of the things here's me spin zone. I'm flipping it, baby, because that's just what we have to do sometimes. A lot of resiliency from this group to have that awful of an inning where it's just compounding errors of base running, and to stick with it and to come back and to not only still be able to be efficient at the plate, but to have an even better inning in response against an even better pitcher in Aroldis Chapman, who, his ERA jumped to a 2.66 ERA, which is saying, hey, he's been pretty darn dominant all year. And you were able to get to him. You just were able to cause some issues, which was, jumped to a 2.08 ERA, So yeah, he had a sub-2 ERA coming into this appearance, and the Rockies batted him around. They knocked him around. awesome stuff to show that resilience. Still need to attribute, hey, awful base running, and Castro's was probably the worst just because it was like, dude, just pick your head up and see that Moniak is going to get held just because both knocks just from Castro and Freeman really didn't feel like opportunities to send the runner from second home. Julian was sent home, Moniak wasn't. And you would think Castro is more of a veteran player, would have been a little bit more aware. But regardless, great resiliency from this Rockies group. To go from that to Vodnik keeping the lead, or to keep that score at 2-0, and then to go into the bottom of the ninth and do that. Just good stuff. So look, I understand. You can say it's cope. You can say whatever. But after a walk-off win, we're keeping the vibes high. That's just what we do. We can be gloomy, 100 times a year when the Rockies lose. But you know what? When they win on a walk-off win, we're gonna be spin zoning the crap out of that. All right. So that's what we're gonna do, and we're gonna finally talk about Mickey Moniak making a return to the lineup. He had the base hit in the 8th inning, just pinch hitting this one. He comes back after dealing with, tendonitis in his ankle. And it's good to have Mickey Moniak back. It's great to have another strong bat in this lineup. Obviously, he started the year red hot, was probably the best bat in the lineup for the first 2 months of the year for the Rockies before getting hurt. And look, just awesome to have another good bat. But more importantly, if Moniak is a name that you are considering trading at the deadline, now you've got a runway here where you're going to have a month of baseball where hopefully he can kind of build up that trade value, that card for teams to look at and to trade for. But ultimately, if it's a name that the Rockies keep, it's just great to have a really solid player back in the lineup. It does go into this outfield logjam that we've talked about. That, look, there's been some casualties. Sterling Thompson's now back in AAA. Troy Johnson has been sent to the Shadow Realm for whatever reason. Now, it could be due to maybe an injury that hasn't been talked about a ton, but Troy Johnson really has not seen the light of day. And with Mickey Moniak returning, look, it just gets more interesting because Hunter Goodman, who can DH, he can play catcher. So if it's Moniak playing DH, now you're losing that, like Braxton Fulford's probably not getting the nod as often, or whoever that could be, right? They rotate that in and out. But the outfield has been pretty darn solid. Tyler Freeman had a really good game. He goes 3 for 4. Jake McCarthy has been a revelation. He's been great. Cole Carrick's playing in the outfield. We know he's been awesome. So the outfield is just, it's a good problem to have. But this front office will need to figure that out, who they want to deal, who they want as depth, because as we've noted, Charlie Condon and Zach Veen, they are getting to that point where they're ready. And when they're ready, you just want to make sure there's a couple spots for them. So with that, though, high vibe episode. How could it not be? The Rockies win on a walk-off against the Boston Red Sox. Hard not to feel high vibes when you see Red Sox fans like this. You get it. Good episode overall. A lot of fun. And with that, that does it. So I hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you want to see more videos like this one. But thank you so much for tuning in. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you tomorrow.